Hi, welcome to episode 6 of this app development tutorial. In this episode, we're going to lay out the XML file for the detail fragment. What we want to do is try to get a fragment that looks like this. This is the detail activity, and all of this information, the date, the rating, the image, the overview, and the reviews, is all passed into this activity through intents. That's what we did last episode. Now we want to create the layout for this detail activity. The first thing you notice about this layout is that it's in a scroll view. So what we're going to do is create a scroll view. The width and the height are just going to match parent. Now inside this scroll view, we can start populating it with all these. This is an image view, this is a text view, this is a button, these two are buttons. We can start populating it. But what we have to do is, you can't populate a scroll view with separate text views or image views. You can only put a relative layout in the scroll view. So we're going to create another relative layout. And we're going to put all the text views, buttons, and image views in this relative layout. So let's start with the first text view, the title up here. For the width, we'll do wrap content. And for the height, we'll do 150 dp. We'll set the left padding for the text to 20, so the text doesn't start immediately over here, but rather over here. We have to give our text view an ID. We'll call it title since it holds the title. Give it the background color. This is the hexadecimal for the background color, which is sort of like cyan. The text size is 35. Centered vertically, but not horizontally. If it was centered horizontally, it'd be in the middle here. Setting the text color to the hexadecimal for white. We're setting all of these to true, so that the background takes up all of this area. Next we want to create the image view that holds this poster right here. The width and the height will wrap content. Which means it will be whatever the image that we put into this image view. It will have whatever dimensions that image has. Left padding will be 5. Right padding will be 0. We have to give this the ID. Actually, all of these paddings will be 15. This image view is below the title. So you know how we gave this right here, the ID of title. Now this is below that ID. And of course we have to give this an ID, so that later in the Java code we can use the ID that we give it here to populate this image view with the image. Alright, next we'll have the text view for the date. We can sort of copy this text view and modify some. For example, the ID will be date now. The text size will be 25 instead of 35. Can take these out. We don't need to set the text color or the gravity or the background. And we're just going to add some padding. The height is going to be wrap content. Of course, where do we have to put this? We want this to be below the state, to be below the title. And then we also want this to be to the right of the poster. Right now we're dealing with the text view for the date. Next we'll have the text view for the rating. So just copy this over. The ID for this will be rating. Instead of being below the title, it will be below the date. It'll still be to the right of the poster. We're not going to set the text size, but we're going to set the text style. We're going to use the default text size, and the text style is going to be bold. Notice how this is bold. And we're just setting the padding. You can mess around with this however you want to make it look good. Make it look however you want. Now what do we add next? We have to add our favorites button. Set the text to favorite. This is below rating. And to the right of the poster. We'll have 0 padding in all directions. Give it an ID. Call it favorite. Notice how the favorite text is centered horizontally and vertically in the button. Well, this following line does that. Gravity. And finally, the on click. It will call the method favorite when the button is clicked. What's next? Well, we have our overview right here. So that's another text view. Just copy, paste this text view over, and modify it a little. So the ID is now overview. It's not to the right of anything, but it's below the poster. Text will not be bold. And we'll have 15 padding in all directions except for top. Next up, we're going to create a linear layout. We want to, this line right here, it looks like a simple line, but this is a view. This is a black view with 1 dp margin set to its height. And this view, this black line right here, is inside a linear layout. So you're probably wondering why we're creating a linear layout for the rest of this. And the reason is, we don't know how many reviews each movie's gonna have. Some movies might have 2 reviews, some movies, this one only has 1, some movies might have 20 reviews. So we have to add reviews, we have to add text views programmatically in the Java code, not in the XML, to this linear layout. And how the linear layout works is each view that's added just goes right under. So if this had another another review, it would just go, we would programmatically create another line, add the view, and it would just go right under here. So we're creating a linear layout so we can programmatically add the correct number of reviews. And it's very important that you set the orientation of that linear layout to vertical so that it adds downwards and not the other way around. So that each thing you add to this linear layout will go underneath this last review. We'll just name it linear, and we'll be using this later. Left and right padding. Where is this going? Well, this linear layout will start right below the overview. And of course, it's very important that you set the orientation to vertical. So we're in our linear layout. What's the first thing we see in our linear layout under the overview? We just see a line. This line is very easy to create. It's just a simple view, width 1 or height 1, and a width of fill parent. Black background. We actually don't need to define layout below because it will automatically be added to the linear layout. So we don't need to say that this is below the overview because the linear layout is already starting below the overview, and the first element added to the linear layout is this black view. Alright, so we just created that line. Now let's make our button. Let's copy and paste this button and change it a little. So the text will say, watch trailer 1. The width and the height, instead of being a set amount, the height will be wrap content. And the width will be fill parent. Notice how the width fills up the entire width of this linear layout. We don't need to set it to be below anything or to the right of anything. So as far as padding goes, notice how the text starts here and not all the way at the beginning of the button, but it starts a little bit into the button. That's where the padding is important. So we'll set the padding to 15 so that it starts here. We'll give it the ID of trailer 1, And we're not going to center it completely, because if it was centered completely, the text would be right in the middle of the button, not here. But we're going to center it vertically. And on click will take you to the method trailer1. Let's add the second button. Same exact thing, except it's defined as trailer2. And on click will take you to the method trailer2. Okay, and now let's create our other black line. Now that we've got through these two buttons, our black line. And then one more text view for this reviews title. We don't need to set this below anything. The ID will be reviews. The width will be fill parent. The height is wrap content. And all of these paddings will be 0 except for top. Because you notice how there's a little padding between this line and here. Alright, and there we have it. This should make up the layout. Now you're probably wondering where the actual reviews are. Well, because there's not a set number of reviews, we're going to be adding a new text view programmatically for every single review that is in each specific movie. So in the next episode, we're going to populate all these different fields we just made with the actual data that we've gotten. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.